Hello, welcome. It's the top of the hour, and we're talking about the number one way to increase your impact without selling your soul. Because you could have the world's best idea, but if your delivery, let me say that again. Perfect example. You could have the world's best idea, but if your delivery falls flat, if no one hears it, it won't land. And this session is all about how to speak in a way that people feel so that they listen, remember, and even more importantly, act. Because real impact isn't about having the loudest voice, it's about having a voice that connects, motivates, inspires, and impacts change. That's what we're talking about today. And too many smart, talented leaders are overlooked, not because they lack ideas, but because their delivery doesn't match their brilliance. I have many clients, I've met many friends, colleagues, many people in my network have experienced this themselves, either now or in the past. And it's time to change that, especially for you if you're listening. Because this isn't about being flashy. It's about being clear, confident, and memorable when it matters most. And this session is part of my summer series, Unmute Your Voice. These are the same tools I teach in my one on one meetings and sessions with clients, but here you're getting them for free, live and ready to use. I'm packaging all up in this great little summer treat. It reminds me of those candies that's fun size. I'm just checking some of my channels here to make sure everything's coming across as it should. Yep, I even see you on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. Great to see everyone here. Yes. Go ahead and drop a comment and I'll call out your name because I'd love to welcome you personally. Hi, Michelle, Impact for Change. Yes, please. Who wants some change? Change that we're influencing, not all change. Change can be scary, but what if you get to have a voice in that change? Then we like it a little bit better. So, welcome, Michelle. So glad to have you here. And for those of you just joining now, so glad we're talking about impact. And for those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Elizabeth Miller, and I help business leaders like you show up with clarity and power, especially in high stakes conversations on LinkedIn, social media, on stage, and in the boardroom where it matters a lot. Because when your voice matches your vision, people notice. They perk up, lean in, and want to know more. But before we jump into that whole topic, it's really good stuff today. I want to give a special shout out to my nephew, Carter, because I'm recording live in his bedroom. I'm in the USA and I'm recording from his room, which I have to say is a very sporty room. Check this out. If you know, you know. American football, put my fingers on the laces. What else do we have? Good old 76ers! Hometown happiness. So I'm really excited to be here. Thank you, Carter. And thank you for everyone who's joining me live. It's so great to have you here. Excellent. So I'm going to ask a question now, and I'd love to see your answers in the comments, and I'll check around while you're answering to make sure I catch all those comments. Here's the question. Think back. So go back in your memory. Maybe it's a long time ago. Maybe it was yesterday. What's one moment you wish you had spoken with more confidence? Think about the context. Think about the setting. Where were you? Who was there? What was the conversation? Why did it matter? And then think about that feeling when you think, I didn't quite get it right. How did that feel? How does that feel? Go ahead and drop an emoji in the comments and let me know. Or you can use words. You can type. You can choose. I'm not that picky. All right, impact for change. Thank you. I'm checking the comments. Excellent. Yeah, it is not a good feeling. Like we think back and like, why did I say that? Or why didn't I say that? Either way, if you know that feeling, this conversation today, this is for you. Let me tell you what you'll get in the session. We're going to talk about vocal techniques to sound clear and strong, especially under pressure. We're going to talk about body language habits. Habits is the key word here that boost your authority or kill your authority. There could be things you're doing without even realizing it that's undercutting your authority. So we want to cut that out, right? We're also going to talk about what you also get today are the mindset shifts to stop playing small and start showing up as a leader, as the leader you are. All right. So we're going to talk about that today. And I'm going to bring up some slides, pull up the slides. And at any point, you can go ahead and drop comments. I'm checking them. I want to keep this as interactive as possible, and I welcome you to join me. Now, I do see some messages on Instagram, but I can't. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Oh, what's happening? Oh, I see some hearts. Thank you. All right. Okay, I see. I see what's happening here. Oh, that's cool. All right. I got them all. All right. So, what we want to talk about, so now it's time to dive in. Because real impact, this is important, isn't about having the loudest voice. It's about having a voice that connects. You want to connect with the minds, with the hearts, and sometimes the wallets of the people who you're speaking with. It depends on what you're going after here. You want to persuade, to inspire, to create change, to impact thoughts, change hearts. So that's what we're talking about today. How to speak with impact without selling your soul. If you're just joining me now, welcome. The first thing we want to talk about is here we go, because your voice is more than just words. It's how people feel you. When you hear my voice, when you're listening to me, when you're seeing me here in a video, it creates a response in you, and it can be a variety of different responses. That's what we want to focus on today. We want to talk about how your voice is more than just the words. I could be talking about a cooking recipe, or, well, I could be talking about speaking with impact, for example. Let's get really clear about it, right? And depending on how my voice is, can influence how you perceive me, how you feel about this interact, how you're experiencing this. And if you want an example, think of high school. You have a lot of different teachers, a lot of different approaches, and the way they speak, the way they teach impacts us for the rest of our lives. Like some people have chosen their career based on a teacher they really liked. It matters. And when your voice is shaky or flat or your message doesn't land, it can't land if you're so distracting with your voice. Even if your message is important and essential, if you're not connecting it with the right delivery, it's not going to land. It's not going to work. And you've lost your audience. So let's talk about practical steps that you can do to help match your voice to your message, to keep that value, a direct connection there. One, we want to talk about vocal variety. There's a lot of different ways to add color, add texture, add interest to your voice. All right. I just did something there. Did you catch it? Color, texture, interest. I use a set of 3, and I said each word, one after the other, after the other. There are certain vocal techniques you can do to help people follow and listen better. You can use your pitch, pace, and pauses. This is something I work quite a bit with my clients. We practice adding pauses in particular places, slowing down our words to highlight or add meaning. There's a lot of ways you can play or paint your voice. So that's something to think about and practice. If you haven't done it before, like, oh, it is a playground of good stuff. And I really welcome you to connect with me, send me a DM, let me know. We can talk about how you can use some of these tools to increase your impact instantly. Another thing I would recommend is to hydrate. Now, this may look like a normal white mug, but thanks to my niece Kyla, look at this. I got a unicorn. So definitely hydrate, always have water near you, and warm up. Even for a Zoom call, even for something boring, you want to be present and ready to speak when it matters. Another thing I would really recommend if you want to increase your impact is to record yourself speaking. What? Yes, record yourself speaking and then listen back. So after you've recorded, listen back for clarity, for tone, for filler words. Those are those little words like, kinda, that we put in without even realizing it. It's much better to take those out and leave a silence or a pause. I, kind of like helped her on the project versus I helped her on the project. You can hear a clear difference between that. I was just working with a dear friend of mine, also a client, Dorotha, and she was using kind of way more than she realized. In fact, we recorded and counted it, and she was shocked. But that awareness enabled her to remove it from her speech and increase her impact without blood, sweat, or tears. So that was a really fun one. Another thing I would really recommend here is to use intentional pauses. There was one. Because silence, okay, that wasn't a good example, but in general, when you're speaking or listening to a speaker, notice when they pause. Notice how they pause. That was an example of something not effective, but using silence and pauses effectively increases authority. It's crazy. When we're nervous, when we're not sure what to say, we naturally want to fill that silence with noise, with sounds, with words, with value, with whatever, anything to make it stop, right? Yet, when you're confident, when you're clear thinking, Nicole, hello. I see you on Instagram. Thanks for coming live. That's great. Great to have you here. When you are calm, controlled, cool, collected, you sound more confident. You sound more authoritative. What's that word? But your message comes across clearer and you're a better leader and people listen when you speak. All right. Great. So we're talking about different ways to speak. We've talked about using tone and pace and pauses, especially pauses. When you're listening to someone else speak, what's one thing you notice? What's one thing you notice that makes you trust, lean in and listen more, or maybe even purchase from the person or the product or whatever, or tune out? What turns you off? If you know instantly, drop it in the comments. If you don't know or you're not sure, use this next week. Pay attention when you're scrolling through social media or YouTube and checking things out. Which videos do you lean in for and which do you swipe? listen to how they're speaking and see if you notice a pattern, because this information this is gold. This is pure gold. So always use that. All right, I'm just checking again the comments. Great. Excellent. I see people are coming in here. I want to share a story. I once worked with a startup founder, and her ideas were gold. I mean, they were so good. She was so smart, so clever, so experienced, just really, really fantastic. But her voice, it would kind of wander and trail off at the end of every sentence. Just uh, out of focus. Get in focus. There we are. My hands are making me out of focus. So her voice would trail off at the end of every sentence, and that did not land well. Investors assumed she lacked confidence. Clients were also unsure. It didn't seem like the right fit, right? But once we worked together and she started finishing her thoughts clear with a period, a clear and final statement, doors and wallets started opening. It was awesome. Just a small change turned her story around. It actually saved her business. She was like, she couldn't figure it out. All right. All right. We're going to go now to point number. So, number one, your voice is more than just words. And number two, whether you like it or not, your body speaks before you do. Your body speaks before you do. And why this matters, because before you even say a word, your body is sending out a message. It's your posture, your eye contact or lack of eye contact, facial expression, arms. All of this builds or breaks trust. Perhaps you've seen the studies about first impressions and how people make a decision, an initial impression about you within the first 2.5 seconds of seeing you. It's about how you stand, the energy you give off, your clothes, any number of things. But your body is sending out screaming messages before you even open your mouth. So we want to think about that a little bit today so that you can use your body to build trust, to create better connections, to create more impact. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I have 4 specific tips for you on this one. And yeah, I want to give you like small, fun size things you can try, test, and give me feedback. What's working for you? What's not? So, the first thing I want to talk about, and this is true if it's in person or on video, because I'm on video. We're on video right now. So, whether it's in person or on video, the best posture you want to have is shoulders down, right? Because this is very different than this. And if you're watching live or on the replay, go ahead and take a deep breath and notice where your shoulders are and try and relax them, because we all need relaxed shoulders. Am I right? So, excellent. Shoulders down, chin level. Chin level, grounded posture. So not shaky, teetery, but just grounded, centered. Wait a minute, in focus. There I am. And if you're doing video, the ideal is to have the lens of the camera at eye level. The lens of the camera at eye level, so that we're not looking down on the camera. Well, this I have to zoom out a little bit, or looking up at the camera. What happens a lot, I actually have my computer stacked on some Harry Potter books. I believe they're from another shout out for my nephew Gannon. Thanks for letting me borrow books. I have some Bob books and some thick Harry Potter books to raise up my camera lens. That way I can get that eye level instead of looking down on the camera. And so when you're in a Zoom meeting, look at all the people and try and see if you notice different camera angles and how that impacts your experience of listening to them or how that impacts your impression. All right. Now, is that something you've heard before? Is anyone ever saying anything about where the camera lens should be? Have you thought about that when you're entering live meetings or videos, or when you're doing a selfie? Do you think about, I know many females especially hold the camera way up. I'm trying to squeeze in here. Hold the camera way up for the selfie to get that looking down vision. What do you do? What do you do? I'm curious. Go ahead and drop a comment and let me know. I would love to know that. So, the other thing I really recommend is whenever possible, or as much as possible, look at the camera, not at your notes. When I'm reading my notes, when I'm thinking, like, sure, having a bullet point, something to look at, something to reference is great. And you'll notice my eyes, I keep checking the comments. Yeah, that's normal. That's great. That's what we do. However, looking at the lens as much as possible helps create a connection because as humans, we are used to meeting in person and we're used to creating eye contact rather than looking down at a person's shoes. So we want to try and emulate that, recreate that as much as possible in video as well as in real life. Of course, just staring at the camera and speaking in a monotone is not the ideal either, as we mentioned in point number 1. So keeping it live, keeping it casual, keeping it natural is the ideal, what we want to do. So point number 3 is a bit of a loaded one. It's to smile. Yeah, but not all the time. Not a forced smile because you have to. Not a smile to help other people feel better, but a smile intentionally. Smile intentionally because you want to, with purpose, not out of a nervous habit. Okay, so not smiling all the time or we want to smile, for example, when we read a good comment, when someone you know joins the conversation, when something funny happens. So smiling because you want to, not because you have to. Another small thing that it's a I think it's a cool thing, but you can choose if you like it or not. It can be divisional. Is to show your upper teeth rather than your bottom teeth. Some people, when talking, tend to show their bottom teeth more than their upper teeth. So that's something to think about. Generally, the upper teeth, they're usually bigger, brighter, whiter, and what we want to show off rather than the bottom teeth. All right. One way to check yourself when you're video yourself and then look. And if you want to practice or change that, is to try and focus on feeling your teeth with your bottom lip. So if I feel my upper teeth with my bottom lip, I'm more likely than not showing my upper teeth. I keep checking. Am I? So it's a choice. Another thing, so the fourth and final tip is to avoid shrinking, fidgeting, shaking something. I don't have something to shake at the moment. Shaking your leg. Even if you can't see it, like just shaking my leg has changed my energy throughout my whole body. So shrinking, fidgeting, wandering eyes. or even over nodding, trying to be super, super interested and excited. So these are things we want to avoid. These are the things we want to take out. Look in the camera, smile, more upper teeth, and shoulders down. That's probably the most important. Chin level, camera at eye level. All right. So that's about body language on video. Which one do you think is most interesting? What did you hear that you don't want to forget? Go ahead and drop that in the comments. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to know what's helpful for you so we can dive more into it and talk more about it. Because that's the point. This is for you to help you become better communicators. But I'm wondering what's one unconscious habit you've caught yourself doing on camera or on stage? For me, one is definitely speaking with bottom lips. I've noticed that about myself. And smacking my lips. Maybe I've been doing it even in this live session, but the went close to the mic for that. Maybe I could pull the mic up. Yeah. That's not helpful on video. In a live session, I mean, in a real person to person, in person situation, one doesn't notice it as much, but with the microphone, it can come off really agitating. I can even give you an example story. A client of mine used to nervously twirl her hair every time she spoke up in meetings without realizing it. Like it was just something she would do. She had beautiful curly hair, just gorgeous locks. And she would do it every time she was about to speak up. I guess it was a comforting thing for her. And once she was aware of it, once we came up with alternatives for her hands, for her fingers that boosted authority rather than undercut her authority, not only did people perceive what she said differently during meetings, but her whole leadership presence shifted. We changed one thing, and suddenly she was invited to lead more calls within a month. The change was so quick. It was really impressive. That was a huge win. Just stop the twirling. It was so exciting. But right now, I'm just going to check the comments again and we're going to get ready. So that's conclusion of number 2. Which piece was most interesting for you? Your body speaks before you do. And we talked about, if you're just joining now, we talked about specific things you can do to build your authority, to increase your impact simply through body language. And now we're going to go to point 3. And this is about mindset, because mindset drives everything. If you don't believe your voice matters, no one else will either. No one else will either. It's important to believe in yourself, to believe in what you're saying, in the content, in the value, in the idea that you have. Whatever you're proposing, whatever you're adding, whatever you're contributing or putting forward, you need to believe in that first. Bring that through your voice, and then others can believe in it too. So the best skills in the world won't help you if you're always second guessing yourself. And that's a really tricky one for many of us. And that's why I want to give you some specific tips and tools to help you with this mindset. Let's have a mindset reset. Ooh, that was kind of fun. A mindset reset. So one thing to be mindful of, and there are lots of memes and social media posts about this, is stop undercutting your statement with your words. For example, I hope this makes sense. Or, sorry to interrupt, but I don't know if I'm talking crazy here, but I think instead of using these words or openers or phrases that undercut our confidence before we even speak, before we even share our idea, we want to make it clear statements. Clear, simple, confident statements rather than I hope this makes sense to here's what I want you to know. Here's how I see it, or the data show, right? So just state what it is clearly without undercutting yourself before you share the idea. Another thing, a mindset shift that can be helpful, and there I have lists of those things that people normally say, phrases that come up quite often in human speech, and alternatives that we can use that are simple and clear to practice. If you want that list, send me the message and say leadership, presence. Let me know what you want. Let me know you want the list. Say, show me the list, and I'll send it right out to you. Or we can talk, have a conversation and talk about what your specific situation is and see what tools you need to get clear, confident speech. The second mindset tip I want to share with you is to start with intention. Start with your intention. Why are you here? Who are you? What do you want? And why are you here? These are three super important questions we should all be able to answer at all the times. Like the more clear you can get about these questions before you speak, the easier it is to come across with strong leadership presence, confidence, clarity, and increase your impact without selling your soul. So start with your intention. For example, I'm here to contribute. I'm here to add value. I'm here to provide expertise, not to prove or justify who I am or why I'm here. I am here to contribute. I'm here to add positive value. I'm here to add expertise, not to know everything, not to micromanage this situation, not to justify my presence, not to prove I'm worthy. I'm here to add value. That's an excellent phrase or mantra to say before entering into any kind of situation, actually. And the third tip I want to share is to remember confidence, because we talk a lot about confidence today. Confidence is not ego. I'll say that again because that is key. Confidence is not ego. They're not the same thing. Confidence is clarity, calm under pressure. Confidence is about clarity and being calm under pressure. Okay. And that's what I want for you. That's exactly what it is. So, those are the three ideas that I wanted to share with you for the mindset. That's the third point. If you're just joining us now, we're in the third point, main point of our discussion today. And I will review these at the end. Actually, let's review them now. So, vocal quality can instantly boost or kill your credibility. Second, body language builds trust faster than words. Oh, it's true. Okay. And three, your mindset is the foundation for everything else. So we really, even though it's the third point, we really want to set that foundation first, make that strong and build on top of that. So you get the mindset, the body language, and then your vocal quality. And then no one will hold you back ever. I want to ask a question here. What's a belief about speaking or showing up or being on stage and presenting? What is a belief or concept you've had in your head that you're ready to drop? You are ready to let go of that and send it off into the dustbin, like, get out of here, that you're ready to drop starting today. What is one idea? I'd love to see those in the comments. I can tell you some ideas that my clients have told me about. I mean, We can be like the toughest critics of ourselves. Am I right? Like you have to know everything. You have to know all the answers. You have to be perfect. You need another certification or a degree. I can't say that. I can't speak up there until I have my PhD. Wrong. No one wants to hear from me. Why would they listen to me? Wrong. Um, we do want to hear from you. You have value, you have experience, you have knowledge that we want to hear. And today's session is all about matching your voice, matching your mindset and body language, building up that tower to deliver your message to the people who are waiting to hear from you, right? I love that. That's what I'm all about. Yes. And so, yeah, I want I want to tell you about a specific client I had who believed that she really needed to be the expert before she could speak up. And when I heard it, I mean, honestly, my heart broke. But we reframed her mindset and we reframed her focus from certification. We changed that, or qualification, or whatever status symbol you want to put there. We reframed her mindset from status to contribution. So the focus is on contribution, on the value, on the experience, on the knowledge that she's bringing to the table. And today, I love it. Once she had that mindset reset, she's leading global panels in her industry without having gained another degree. It had nothing to do with that. It was about speaking up and sharing her value. Because being the leader or expert does not mean knowing everything. It means listening, being curious, and most of all, being present. That is so important, right? I love it. All right, if you're listening, if you're here live, because I see you there and I want to hear from you, go ahead and drop a comment of everything I shared today. What's one thing you heard that you don't want to forget? When you write it down, when you type it, when you share it, and I say it again, that's going to help it stick in there more. And you help all of us too. So go ahead and drop that in the comments. Yes. Excellent. And I'll give you a quick refresh here. One second. One moment. I'm having a technical situation. Give me 1 second here. And I've disappeared. Well, what are we going to do about that? A little game of hide and seek. But before I come back, I want to say just clearly and most importantly, impact doesn't mean shouting. It means showing up fully with your voice, your body, and belief in what you're saying. So, again, that's the voice, body, and mindset trifecta of awesomeness that we were talking about building today. Hey, I'm back. So glad to see you again. Excellent. So, I want to share just a quick self-assessment because I see we're at 39 minutes past the hour. I want to share a quick self-assessment that I do myself, that my clients use, and now you can too. So just a quick check for any time my clients are feeling stuck or having a bit of a, not an identity crisis, but a bit of a, but I can't do that. That's not how I speak. That's not my style. If you feel these things I'm speaking about sound like a good idea, yeah, Elizabeth, they make sense, but I don't talk like that, or that would be weird if I did that. I want to share this little self check exercise. It takes less than 5 minutes and it's free and you can do it yourself. So I'm going to guide you through it. You can bookmark this, save it so you can come back to it and do it again. Or let me know in a message you want to have a written form of it. I can do that too. Let's start this conversation. So here is the self-assessment tool. I want you to think about, take a moment, relax, shoulders down, deep breath. Think about something you're really passionate about, something that lights you up. And you could talk about it all day, every day. Okay? Think about it. For some, it's work. For others, it's a passion, like playing a role playing game, dancing. One of my passions, sports. For others, it could be children, a pet, or a special project they're working on. Whatever it is, take a moment and think about that. All right. And I want you to hold that thought for a moment. And this is something I actually do, this self assessment test with my clients, not necessarily with them knowing, but I love to ask them about topics not related to the professional life or the presentation we're doing in that moment or whatever specific thing we're working on in that moment. I love to ask them about other things, how they're doing, how's their family. When things come out, because there's often a huge difference in the way they speak about this topic and the presentation topic. Huge difference. Total difference, right? Because they feel differently about it. They're confident about it. They're passionate about it. They're excited about it. And the thing we're working on, usually they're nervous about it or unsure about it, which is why we're working together. So, my job is to help transfer this energy, this natural goodness that everyone has into the area we're not as comfortable with. So, just help have that borrowed confidence, right? Slide that over because you are capable. You're totally capable, just maybe not in every context. So, what about you? What's your favorite thing to talk about? Or what do you spend more time talking about? Maybe you don't like it so much, but you do it anyway, like complaining about neighbors, maybe, whatever it is. Think of that for this personal test, for the self assessment. And I want you to use your phone, just get your telephone and put on the video and record yourself for 5 minutes. What, Elizabeth? 5 minutes? But Elizabeth, 5 minutes. If there's silence, there's silence, whatever. Record yourself talking about that topic for 5 minutes. Then stop, start the video again, and talk about something maybe you're less passionate about. Work, having a personal review, maybe a quarterly review. What have you done? What haven't you done? What do you need? Or no prep, just in the flow. Another, maybe you can think about this question: why you should hire me, not me being Elizabeth, but you, why we should hire you. Okay, that makes everyone cringe. That's a cringe question, right? Speak to that for 5 minutes. No prep, just in the flow. It doesn't have to be good, and you don't have to show it to anyone. Record for 5 minutes. Once you've survived that, don't watch them. Put your phone down, do something else, let it go for at least one day. Okay? Let it go for at least one day. I promise it won't hurt. I promise. So after a day, a week, or a month, okay, a month is a bit long, but give yourself time. After it's passed, wait one day. Then we have this quick 3-step assessment. So I'm going to pull up the slides again because I'll give you this in written form because that's, visual, fun. Here we go. So step 1, before you even look at the video, this is one day later, at least one day later, think back about how you felt for each video. Okay. How did you feel? Go ahead and write that down. 1 to 3 words, like not a paragraph, not a thesis document, like 1 to 3 words. This is to check your mindset. Okay. Step 2, we're going to check your body language. Now you can watch the videos. Only now you can go back and watch them with the volume off. Okay. So put it on silent, no noise. Just watch your body. What are you doing? This isn't excellent way to notice and evaluate your body language. Okay, so that's step 2. Step 3, now you're allowed to watch it again, volume on, and check your vocal quality. We're not talking about the content, not what you're saying. This is to focus 100% on how you're saying it. Think about vocal variety, pitch, pace, pauses, silence, filler words. Okay? This is a quick assessment you can do yourself. It takes, 10 minutes to record it, 1 day to wait, and maybe another 30 minutes for the whole thing, right? Well, no, because you're going to watch it twice then. You get the idea. But it's such a good investment. And I promise you, you'll get such valuable insights and learnings from this that it's 100% worth your time. So that's free from me to you for summer. That's a great little snippet. All right, I'm just checking the comments here. We're about to finish off. We have 15 minutes to go in the hour just to see. Hello, I see some people coming in just now for the live. Welcome, welcome. It's so fun to have people here live, so I really appreciate you coming out. So if you have any questions or just inspiring thoughts, breakthroughs, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Send me a DM. Let's troubleshoot those moments that still feel hard. Let's start a conversation. Let's talk about how you can increase your impact without selling your soul and to keep the momentum coming. As I said, I'd love to see your takeaways in the comments, especially if you're listening on the replay. You can hit like to show you're building your confidence, show me you're building your confidence, and share the session with someone who needs to speak up, someone you value, someone you want to hear more from. And, let me come back. Yeah, no. And I also want to invite you especially to join me again here next week. And here it is. Show you the slide. And when I say here, I don't think I'll be in Carter's room, but maybe. We'll have to ask Carter. But here it is, July 10th. That's next Thursday. And our theme is the real reason people zone out and how you can hold their attention. Because really, attention is almost the most valuable currency we have right now. And now it's harder than ever to earn. I was pumping gas and just overwhelmed by the bombardment of messages being shot at me. The audio was playing, offering me special treats and sale prices in the store if I go into the inside and buy food. And the gas pumps were loaded with advertisements. Even the pipe coming down the gas hose had a special advertisement attached to it. It was completely overwhelming. And I was just trying to pump gas. But in this session next week, we'll unpack the surprising reasons people tune out. And maybe from the story I just told you, the reasons aren't so surprising. A little foreshadowing there. Plus, I'll give you the simple tools to keep listeners locked in. We're going to talk about what actually causes people to zone out, how to reset attention during your talk. So if you're giving a talk, if you have a presentation and you notice you're losing the focus, we'll talk about how you can reel people back in and get them re-engaged with your content and with your value that you're sharing. Plus, I'll share some techniques to create a magnetic presence. So join me July 10th, and that's at 17 o'clock Vienna or 11 a.m. Eastern USA in, dun, 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 if you know, you know. And again, thank you so much for joining me today. I want to just thank you especially and to give you an added boost or encouragement to come next week, because holding attention, it isn't magic. It isn't even rocket science. It's simple and it's strategy. And actually, in 2025, it's not just strategy, it's your competitive edge. So join me next week. I look forward to seeing you there as part of my summer series, Unmute Your Voice. Thanks for joining. Ciao.